Hey everybody, this is Jake with Seattle Coffee Gear, and today we're going to be doing some tips and tricks on the Saeco Xelsis. This is the SM7685, that's the stainless model, but you could have the 7684, which is the black model. Otherwise, they're both identical besides the color. And we're going to be going over a lot of the brewing parameters that will help you brew, some cleaning tips, as well as just some general maintenance tips and how to improve your day-to-day life with the machine. So let's get started. First things first, the first thing that I like to do when I set up any machine with profiles is get those profiles set, dialed in exactly how I like them. On the Saeco, it's really easy. You can do it one of two ways. You can do it from the main drinks menu. You can select any of these 15 drink options on here. I'm going to select the latte. And you're going to see this button right here with the little person in the check mark. That is going to be adding it to your profile or whatever profile you'd like to select it to. And this is also where you're going to be changing the parameters for that specific drink. So we're on the cafe latte. I prefer my drinks a little bit stronger, so I'm going to set my strength all the way up to very strong. That's going to increase the amount of ground coffee in the brew unit itself. It's going to actually run the grinder for longer, give you more coffee in that brew unit. The coffee volume, I do like my shots a little shorter in my latte, so I'm going to go with about 50 milliliters. Milk, 140 milliliters, sounds perfect. And we're not using pre-ground. We're not doing a double dose or a double shot. And you're going to notice on the next screen over, you're also going to have four more settings that you have here. Temperature, taste, foam, and order. Temperature, you can set it to low, medium, or high. And with that, you're increasing extraction as temperature goes up, and you're decreasing it as temperature goes down. The taste is, think of it like your micro setting compared to the strength on the previous page's macro setting. The strength is really what I use to get my taste of the coffee stronger, weaker. But if you are looking for a little bit more balance or a little bit more strength without changing any of the parameters too much, go ahead and use the taste function. It changes a little bit of the pre-infusion, a little bit of the pump pulse settings, so how fast the pump is actually pulsing, and a couple other parameters in there. It's a big mix of things, but you can either choose from delicate, balanced, or full body. Like I said, like my drinks stronger, so we're going to just go ahead and go with full bodied. Milk foam, this Xelsis does have adjustable milk foam. It's incorporating more or less air into the cappuccino torre here, the siphon system. And latte is automatically set to low. I like it just like that, so that's perfect. And then you have order. And with order, it's coffee first or milk first. Coffee first actually gives you a little bit more mixing of the drink, whereas milk first kind of separates the layers more. In a latte, I like it mixed, so we're going to stay with those settings. And then I'm just going to add that to my profile by clicking here. And I already have my profile set up. If you wanted to add a new profile from here, you would just click Add Profile, type in your name, and then go from there. But I'm just going to add this to mine. It says your drink was successfully saved. And now all these settings, when I hit the Profiles button in the morning, and my name, and my latte, is going to be all saved right there so that you're ready to brew. And with that, I actually want to show you the difference between the milk foams of the different milk settings. It's a really great way to see kind of what you like and what you don't like. So I'm going to start with the cappuccino setting that I have. It's a little bit stronger, a little bit less coffee, but a little bit more milk because I like my cappuccinos with extra foam. And you'll notice the milk foam setting as compared to the latte. This is on high, and high gives you a really rich, dense layer of foam at the top, and we're going to go ahead and brew and show you what that looks like. So I am going to take the milk carafe with the siphon tube attached. It's really simple. It's just this aluminum tube that plugs into the top of the carafe, just a plug and play right into the side of the dispensing spouts, and click that in and you're good to go. So now I'm ready to brew. So I just need to grab a glass from over here and make sure that my dispensing spouts are pretty close to the top of the glass. The milk tends to sputter just a little bit from all the air that's moving through it, especially on those higher foam settings. So I like to have it pretty down in there just to prevent any splashing or anything like that. And then we're just going to go ahead, all of our settings look great, and we're just going to go ahead and click start. All right, so the drink is done. You'll notice that right at the end of the steaming, it was that sputtering that I was talking about. It's actually cleaning out the milk tube. The Hygie steam system is really great at keeping everything clean. And as you can see here, the drink is very foamy up top. It's starting to separate down on the bottom, the espresso from the milk foam, but it does a really fantastic job at really high foam levels and at low foam levels actually. But this is going to be your cappuccino style drink, and if you wanted like a latte macchiato or just a standard latte, you would choose those low foam or no foam settings, and you actually won't get any layer of foam on top, just the milk dispersing in with the coffee and just a tiny little bit of foam mixing in with the crema at top of the espresso. So that is the drink, and now we need to clean the machine, because now that we've used the milk tube, the milk system is now dirty, and the Xelsis gives you a really easy way to do that. I'm going to go ahead and take the milk tube right out of the carafe. I'm just going to give the outside a wipe just to make sure it's clean. Milk can get really sticky on metal when it heats up, so you just want to make sure everything's wiped down and clean. And then you're just going to want to go ahead and stick it right into the Hygie steam slot right on the side. Click the clean button, click the Hygie steam button, and you're going to want another glass for this because there's a little bit of water that comes out. Stick this in, press start, make sure that the milk tube is connected. We've got that. Make sure that the metal milk tube is in the holder. We do have that as well. And put a container into the spout as the last step, and go ahead and click. And it only takes about 30 seconds to get this all clean, and it shoots really, really hot steam through the milk tube and back down into the drain, into the drip tray, and it cleans it up really well. Probably better than any craft system we've seen. And now you're done. You're going to want to go ahead and do that after every milk drink session that you have. If you're making multiple drinks, the craft's quite large, so you won't need to do this after every single latte or every single cappuccino. But if you are going to be taking a break from doing drinks, any longer than you wouldn't want milk to be sitting out, maybe an hour or so, you're going to want to go ahead and use the Hygie steam, get everything cleaned up, and good to go for the next round of drinks that you make maybe later in the afternoon. So that's the Hygie steam. It's one of the better milk cleaning systems that we've seen from Saeco or any other manufacturer actually. That high temperature steam does a really great job of cleaning everything out for day-to-day use. There's also in the cleaning setting a deep milk clean function. That takes about 5 minutes, so we're not going to do it here today, but you're going to have to put some milk cleaning powder into the carafe, give it a stir, and then it just flows everything through the dispensing spouts to get everything cleaned up, and takes a full tank of water as well. So make sure you have a container large enough for that under there. And you also see descaling and brew group clean, which are important, but if you're using the aquaclean filter, the descaling won't be prompted. You're welcome to descale at any time by going into the descaling menu, but if you have the aquaclean and you're using the aquaclean life indicator, you won't need to do that for up to 5,000 cups, depending on your water hardness setting. And we're just going to go back to the main menu. And then brew group clean is one of the ones that I recommend the most often. A lot of people don't take care of their brew group as well as they should. And you're always going to want to take it out and give it a rinse every week. But this is actually using a cleaning tablet, such as Cafeza tablets or another espresso machine detergent tablet, into the pre-ground slot of the machine. And it's putting all that water and that detergent through the dispensing spouts, all the pipe work back behind it, and through the brew unit itself. And it gives a nice way to clean out all those coffee oils from the coffee that you're grinding and brewing every day, more thoroughly than just rinsing out the brew unit does on a weekly basis. I'd recommend doing it maybe once a month, once every 2 months if you're using a less oily coffee, or if you use the machine less than a couple times a day. So with that being said, we're going to hop back to drinks. There's a couple more things that I'd like to talk about the dialing in your espresso. And there's a couple things that are unique to espresso or any espresso-based drinks, but if you're going to be drinking straight espresso, these are going to be great things to know. So when you get your machine, you're going to have, in the hopper here, you're going to have a grind setting knob. It's got 12 dials or 12 settings, and right now I have mine set to 2, but when you get it, generally it's set to 7, 6, right in the mid-range. And this is going to determine how fine or how coarse your coffee is ground. And of course, when that changes, how finely or coarsely your coffee is ground, it changes how well the water moves through the brew unit and the extraction of the coffee. A more finely ground coffee will be more extracted. You're going to get more strong flavors, and you're also going to get just overall a stronger cup. If you like your coffee a little bit more delicate or with less body, you're going to want to grind coarser towards the 12. And personally, I enjoy 2, 3, 4, depending on the coffee that you use. You don't have to switch it every time you switch coffee, but it is a good idea to switch it every so often if you're noticing that your coffee is not tasting quite as good as you'd like. The most important thing is getting the grind setting that really works best for you, because it's not a number that I could tell you with this coffee and this amount of water what grind setting works best for you, because we all have our different tastes. I like 2, you might like 7, and it's really about dialing in, playing with it, experimenting, and tasting cup after cup to make sure that you have the grind setting that's right for you. When you get these machines, I recommend always using just a medium roast, standard blend, nothing too expensive, nothing too pricey, just to get it dialed in first, and then you can go into the more specialty coffees that have might be a little bit more expensive. But you don't want to waste your first bag of beans, of course, on a dialing in process of the Super Auto. Another quick tip that we'd like to share with you is with the pre-ground scoop. Now, this is actually a different pre-ground scoop than comes with this machine, but it's the same exact size. It's 7 grams, and you do not want to fill this more than to the line. Whether you have a round scoop, a square scoop, whatever scoop that you have that came with the machine, do not fill it above the line. If you do, and you put it into the pre-ground slot up here, the machine's going to detect that there's too much coffee, and it's just not going to brew for you. It's going to stop the brewing cycle, and it's a really common issue, but luckily it's easy to alleviate. If you do overfill it, what you're going to want to do is turn the machine off, let it go through all the rinsing cycles, and then pull out the brew unit from the right side of the machine. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. But you're going to want to pull everything out, and there's probably going to be a little bit of extra coffee grounds around the side. Just wipe those out, make sure that everything's cleaned up. rinse the brew unit, make sure everything is really nice and clean, and put it in, and then you'll be back to brewing. And of course, with just one level scoop this time. Another thing that commonly happens on these machines is the brew units can be a little tough to get out. So I'm actually going to show you a really easy way to get it in and out every single time with just a little bit of practice. And I'm going to tilt the machine to go ahead and do that. So here's the brew unit door. I'm going to go ahead and open it. And here's the brew unit. And on the Xelsis, which is actually, there's different types of trays under here, but on the Xelsis, it's a larger tray to catch extra water and runoff from the brewing cycle. So we're going to want to go ahead and remove that first, and then you can go ahead and remove your brew unit. So there's the push tab, and you're just going to go ahead and slide it on out. Now, on the brew unit, there's actually two corners here, and there's two rails that line up in here. So I like to tilt the brew unit when you're doing this at first, and you're just going to want to go ahead and tilt it, get those two corners lined up, pop it in every time. Super simple. You don't want to be going freehand with it. This gives you a lot more stability and allows you to slide it in. So I'm going to do that one more time. You got these two corners right here. They line up with the two slots right here. You want to go ahead and line those up, pop it in every time, and you're good to go. And then of course you're going to want to go ahead and replace the little drip tray here that goes underneath the brew unit. This one can also be just a little tough to get in, but you give it a wiggle. It doesn't really lock into anything. It's just kind of free floating under the brew unit, and you're good to go. If you notice that your machine, after replacing the brew unit, if it still says that it doesn't have the brew unit in there even after you've closed the service door, just try and remove it and replace it again, and it should be working for you. If it doesn't, then try it again or power cycle the machine, and usually that gets everything, all the gears, in motion. So I'm going to go ahead and close this service door, and it's back up and running. So another thing that the Xelsis allows you to do is make two drinks at once using two glasses, because there are two sides of the dispensing spout. And you can actually choose a double option on here, which will do 2 grinding sessions or 2 dispensing sessions depending on what drink you have chosen. So I'm going to do 2 cappuccinos here, one for me and one for somebody else if you have someone that's over with you and drinking cappuccinos in the morning. So the 2X button on any of the drink menus is what's going to do it. The espresso doppio is actually 2 drinks automatically instead of having to click the 2X button. It's the only one that doesn't have 2X right here. So I'm going to raise these dispensing spouts, get these glasses under here, and you're going to want to put it pretty close and pretty low in there. It tends to overflow just a little bit from the steaming, just a little bit of splatter. So having those dispensing spouts as low as you can is always a good thing. And we're going to be doing 2X, so there's going to be 2 times all of these functions. So 2 times 40 milliliters of coffee, 2 times 120 milliliters of milk, high foam, full body, all the settings that I do enjoy. So I'm just going to go ahead and let it start. And now we're done with the 2 cappuccinos. As you can see, it went through 1 steaming session at the start because we had the milk first option selected, but then it went through 2 individual grind and brew sessions. It ground 2 pucks of beans, basically. It ground and tamped 2 of those so that you get 2 times the amount of coffee, basically a double shot split between these 2 glasses. And it's a great way to make more drinks at once, you know, if you have a lot of family over, or if you have quite a number of people to give coffee to in your household. It's a really nice way to split these drinks up. And one of the things is these spouts, the coffee dispensing spouts, are actually a little bit further back than the milk dispensing spouts. So just make sure that your glasses are far enough pushed in the back to make sure that nothing's going to spill behind it. Because if the milk goes first, the coffee is just a little bit behind that. And if the milk's near the back of your glass, the coffee is going to be over and into the drip tray, which is no good. We don't want that. So here's those 2 cappuccinos. They look really great. Milk foam setting was on high and perfectly even. They're looking really good and they should be great. The last tip that we'd like to share with the Xelsis here, just like any other super auto, is getting things dialed in to where you like it. I can't quite tell you what setting you're going to like compared to what setting I'm going to like. I can't tell you what grind setting you're going to like better than the grind setting that I like better. And the Xelsis really gives you so much control over all the variables, over taste, over strength, over your grind setting, over how much milk you want, over the drink temperature, that I really do think that with a little bit of experimentation, you're going to be able to find what suits you best. In general, a finer grind, a higher dose, those will extract more coffee, it'll be stronger flavors, and a coarser grind and less dose coffee, so less coffee in the brew unit, will be a little bit weaker or more delicate, less of a body on the coffee. So start there and try things out. Go one step at a time. It takes a few grind and brew sessions before you're really going to start noticing any big differences between one setting or another. So if you do get this machine and if you're frustrated because the machine's not making drinks that you like, I really do think that a little bit of experimentation with some of the tips and tricks that I gave you today on brewing and then making sure that your machine stays clean, I really do think that you will enjoy this machine and get it all dialed in to how you like it. I want to thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on our videos, and we'll see you next time.